Home to nearly 130 million, the land of the rising sun, an architectural marvel, the origin of manga, possessor of savory ramen. Once a country of isolation, now a country of growing immigration. Japan has seen record-breaking highs of permanent foreign residents. In 2018, 1 out of 8 young people turning 20 in Tokyo weren't born in Japan. What is bringing foreigners? How do locals perceive their own nation? Why Japan? Three foreigners and 1 native were interviewed to gain some insight for why they're in Japan and their take on a slice of life.
Why? Because no one in my family or anything has ever ventured to Japan, let alone Asia. Like, it's a very rare thing for someone like me to do, I feel. So every day I'm pushing myself, trying to get to know people, and that's making me grow as a person.
I feel really different compared to my country, which is Brazil, by the way. So in Brazil, it is quite dangerous, especially in my city, and you cannot walk by yourself at night especially. And living in Japan, where it's one of the safest countries in the world, it really changes the way you think about just like going out for a walk, because in my city you don't have that opportunity, and here is like one of the most common things and people just take it for granted. But small things like that, it changes the way you live. And compared to my country, I think Japan is a really nice country because of that.
Also had a chance to live in the different country, which is America. The United States is so diverse as opposed to Japan, which is considered to be a homogeneous society, where 97% of the whole Japanese population actually are Japanese. So from that point of view, I think Japan is, in a way, just more comfortable, just secure in that aspect.
I will say that living in Japan is a really nice experience. It's something new and something very unique. I don't know, the convenience of everything. You walk around, there's a vending machine. There's like 3 vending machines right next to each other, right down the same stretch. And then you go and you see the Family Mart, and then you see another Family Mart, and then you see a 7-Eleven. So, the convenience of it, that's something that I really enjoy. It's a really safe place to be. I could go out to Family Mart at 3 in the morning and go grab me some famichiki, come back to my room and not have to worry about getting kidnapped or something like that.
Japan is where I was born. This is where I was just raised. So this is the country that gives me the comfort. Actually, one of the things that I can tell about my country, Japan, is of course the comfort and also the safety. So I feel very secure in this country. And although the number of the immigrants and the foreigners also just coming to this country has been increasing dramatically, but still I feel very comfortable.
I know I stand out. Like, you walk down the street and there's no one who looks like you. But at the same time, people can see that and they want to make you feel welcome. So living in Japan does make me feel like, I wouldn't say special because I'm not special, but it does make me feel like I'm doing something big with my life.
This is a place that I think I'd like to live in the future. So it's nice.
Since the days of the samurai, the Bushido Code has existed in Japan. Bushi, meaning warrior, and Do, meaning way, is a set of values such as order, loyalty, justice, and honor. Though the era of samurai has since passed, the roots of Bushido still run deep throughout Japan. Students are loyal to teachers, employees to their company, and there is an overwhelming general sincerity to preserve honor. Zen Buddhism is a practice that helped to shape samurai culture. Zen aims to achieve enlightenment through liberation of the mind. This creates a union of body and spirit that leaves a blank mind in spiritual peace. This practice became integral in Bushido because it helps samurai to remain calm and to be patient in battle.
In Japan, people have a lot of discipline, and time is something they respect a lot. In the sense of not being late for anything and respecting other people's time. That is quite different from my culture, actually. And for example, in Brazil, if you have a party and you say to everybody that the party is 9 o'clock, people begin getting in the place around 11. But in Japan, if you say that a party is 9 o'clock, then 9 o'clock you have to be there. And in the beginning, it was really hard for me. It was really hard for me. And sometimes it still kind of is hard. But I think that was one of the things that's changed a lot since I came here.
Punctuality, one of the things. We're gonna meet somebody, we try to be on time or before the friend that you're gonna meet with shows up, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes earlier. But the essence of that stance is that we are trying to make other people feel really. So I think that's, in a way, they're being altruistic. Thinking about others over yourself is more important for us.
Now my world is shaped to be part of a big family where everyone comes together, and despite differences we all get along. And
before I came to Japan, I didn't really have a plan worked out. Like, I was previously a psychology major, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. And then after I came to Japan and lived here for probably maybe a couple weeks, I started reevaluating things, and now I want to, do study abroad in the future and do like the JET program. So now my future plan is to teach English as a second language to Japanese kids. So yeah, that's actually been pretty vital in my future planning. Not to mention, we don't have Nomi Hodai back in America, so I'm a much heavier drinker now than I was back home.
The food is really good in here, but there's no meat. And that sucks. I miss so much that big, juicy red meat, and they just don't have it here, man.
I think Japanese culture used to be, or often called to be a shame culture, meaning that we do care about how other people look at me. So our behavior tend to be based upon the other's observation, as the evaluation of myself.
I always think that people make all the difference in your experience of the world. You can be surrounded by beautiful things, but if you don't have good people, then it will seem really ugly. And Japan has a lot of beautiful things, but then the best way to experience it is with great people.
Well, I want to continue my Japanese language speaking, so the best way to do that would be to immerse myself and live here. I think that's the best way to learn about another culture is through its language. So yeah, just continually practicing and living here, I think would be a really good experience. And plus, in Japan, They have a lot of cutie pies too, so maybe give myself a little wifey. You know what it is.
If you take like just one thing, it's not a big change, but if you take like lots of these small things, I think it changes a lot the way you live because you have to adapt, right?
I grew up in the Japanese culture, so sometimes I tend to pay attention to the other people's reaction before I'm going to start the my own action. So that's part of the Japanese culture and part of the who I am. But I think it's sometimes difficult to be myself in this country.
Yeah, I would not go out as much if I was in New Zealand because you get so like trapped in your own little comfort zone. But here, like everyone's like, let's go out to get ramen or something. Let's go to the city 2 hours away in a train. And yeah, you just jump at those chances because there's not much time. So
A prominent part of culture found in Japan is that of omotenashi. This concept translates to being thoroughly hospitable. Not only does it embed awareness for individual needs, it also encompasses the effort to always go the extra mile. Abiding by the rules is the perfect example. No matter how crowded the situation, even if the action becomes tedious, manners matter, as well as social codes and etiquettes. Even if there are no cars on the street, waiting for the walking signal to turn green before crossing is expected and carried out. In Tokyo, a group of 100 people even will still wait. It's quite the contrast to cities like New York where the masses ignore these social norms.
One of the things I just want to talk about is probably perseverance and then try to be patient with other people. And then in 2011, we had a big earthquake in this country. And then even we had such a big natural disaster, people trying to do things in orderly manner. So no matter what kind of situation we're in, we try to preserve the kind of old and ordinariness. So I think that's one of the things that I just want to tell the people in the other country how good Japan is.
I think if anything, it's made me a more respectful person. Just because like you see the way that they treat strangers and like their customers, and they're always super super kind to you, and they go out of their way to treat you kindly. I think that's something that we can always take into our lives. And I think back home in America, that might not always be the case. People kind of just like shrug you off or ignore you most of the time. But here it seems like, they work really hard to show you that respect and be kind to you.
The reason why we try to be kind to others because the kindness that we show to others will come back to us. So that's kind of basic idea of that, So yes, of course, we're trying to help others for other people, but also for the sake of ourselves. That's kind of main idea, right?
I went to Hakone and my host mom's sister, she didn't know me at all, but she took me in, and despite the language barrier, she cooked me amazing meals and took me around all the sites. And it was just amazing to see how far these people will go for someone they don't know. And
then that actually leads to the creating the unity among Japanese people. So from that point of view, just the being united or the showing the unity among Japanese people is one of the biggest factors of Japanese good traits. Yeah, these kind of interactions are unforgettable, and it reminds me to take that kind spirit with me wherever I go.
So I'll definitely take a lot of things out of Japan, and one that I want to take, but I think I haven't yet adapt that much, is the discipline they have here. To be really organized with everything, to put attention and care into the smallest things.
Something I've learned from Japan is this concept called omoyari, which means to be aware of other people and carry this sort of generosity around. For example, if you're on the train, you're supposed to give up your seat. You don't talk on the phone because that might intrude other people. So just being aware and respectful of other people's space is something I've definitely become more aware of. And I think when I return to New Zealand, that's going to be something that I'll think about and probably carry on for the rest of my life.
I believe that coming to Japan opened my mind. It completely changed the way I view the world, and it's made me see like how things are in a different perspective. So before coming to Japan, I have never been outside of my country, and after I came here, I could go to countries like Korea, Taiwan, and some others. But the thing is, being here in Asia changed me in a way that I feel more responsible.
Definitely punctuality too, because like here, you know, they show up like 5 minutes early to everything, and back home I'm used to being late all the time, so I have to work a lot harder to, you know, get to places and get things done.
I feel like Japan, even without choosing, it was the right choice, you know?
Does Japan have flaws? Of course. Though the culture of Bushido and Omotenashi makes it a dominant force for self-improvement in a world where it is expected, Japan as an influence for the rest of the world is powerful. Despite the low population, the impact of technology, ethics, and even anime reaches the rest of the world. Good or bad, Japan affects people. More of them are changed for the better, changed to see more fulfillment. Japan is opportunity. Opportunity for the rest of the world to expand upon. This expansion being built upon trust, human development, and at the core, honor. This is the land of the rising sun.